So, we're going to be reading from Bhagavad Gita 7.19. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Reading from Bhagavad Gita 7.19, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Bahunam Janmanamante
Bahunam Janmanamante
Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate
Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate
Vasudeva Sarvamiti
Vasudeva Sarvamiti
Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha
Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha
Bahunam Janmanamante
Bahunam Janmanamante
Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate
Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate
Vasudeva Sarvamiti
Vasudeva Sarvamiti
Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha
Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha
Bahunam Janmanamante
Bahunam Janmanamante
Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate
Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate
Vasudeva Sarvamiti
Vasudeva Sarvamiti
Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha
Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha Bahunam Janmanamante
Bahunam Janmanamante
Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate
Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate
Vasudeva Sarvamiti
Vasudeva Sarvamiti
Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha
Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. One more from the Prabhuji.
Bahunam Janmanamante
Bahunam Janmanamante
Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate
Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate
Vasudevah Sarvamiti
Vasudeva Sarvamiti
Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha
Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha
Mataji's.
Bahunam Janmanamante
Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha
Bahunam Janmanamante
Bahunam Janmanamante
Mam Prapadyate
Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate
Vasudeva
Vasudeva
Sarvamiti
Sarvamiti
Sa Mahatma
Sa Mahatma
Sudurlabha
Sudurlabha
Bahunam.
Bahunam
Many. Janmanam.
Janmanam
Repeated births and deaths.
Repeated births and deaths
Ante.
Ante
After. Jnanavan.
Jnanavan
One who is in full knowledge.
One who is in full knowledge
Mam.
Mam.
Unto me.
Unto me
Prapadyate.
Prapadyate
Surrenders.
Surrenders
Vasudeva.
Vasudeva
The personality of Godhead Krishna.
The personality of Godhead Krishna
Sarvam.
Sarva
Everything. Iti.
Iti
Thus. Saha.
Saha
That. Mahatma.
Mahatma
Great soul.
Great soul
Sudurlabha.
Sudurlabha
Very rare to see.
Very rare to see.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Together.
After
After
many
many
births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare.
Thank you. That was very harmonious. Okay. So this was, I'm sure every time I come here, I'm like, oh my God, this verse is so important. This verse is very important. But also when you do Bhakti Shastri or one of those other courses, this is one of those verses that you have to by heart. You have to remember this verse. So this is a wonderful, wonderful verse, and I hope I can do justice to it. I'm only going to read half the purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada: the living entity, while executing devotional service or transcendental rituals after many, many births, may actually become situated in transcendental pure knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of spiritual realization. In the beginning of spiritual realization, while one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some leanings towards impersonalism, but when is further advanced, he can understand that there are activities in the spiritual life and that these activities constitute devotional service. Realizing this, he becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrenders to him. At such a time, one can understand that Lord Sri Krishna's mercy is everything and that he is the cause of all causes and that this material manifestation is not independent from him. He realizes the material world to be a perverted reflection of spiritual variegatedness and realizes that in everything there is a relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Thus, he thinks of everything in relation to Vasudeva or Sri Krishna. Such a universal vision of Vasudeva precipitates one's full surrender to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna as the highest goal. Such surrendered great souls are very rare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, since this verse is so precious, every word in this is so precious, I'm just going to split it up by whatever, you'll see as we go along. So let's start with the first thing that says, Bahunam Janmanamante, okay, which says after many births and deaths. So, again, we're all devotees, we're all, we're kind of exposed to Krishna consciousness and we know what some fanatic Krishna devotees tell us. So we kind of, we've grown up in that environment. But for a lot of people, especially in Bergen County, when we have a lot of, wonderful new devotees who join us every Sunday, they may dispute this. They may say, after many births and deaths, what does that mean? I don't believe in reincarnation. Okay, so they start off with, I don't believe in reincarnation. So what Islam says is that, Islam says there is, and this is very generic, okay, I am not very well versed in these religions, but when you look at the NCHI research that's being done on reincarnation, these are the standout statements that they make. One is that Islam believes that there is only one life. You're born, and when you die, you get judgment for that. Either you go to Jannat or you go to hell. It's it's a clean decision. This is it. You're done. Christianity says that when you die, the soul goes along with your body, and that's why they have a big ceremony for burial and stuff like that. The soul goes with the body and they preserve the soul in the body until a final judgment day. There is supposed to be a final judgment day when the Lord will make a decision as to who goes where, who deserves to go hell or heaven or wherever, their destination is. Judaism doesn't believe in reincarnation. They have a couple of scriptures, one which does research into that, but generally speaking, Judaism doesn't believe in reincarnation, and they want to kind of not encourage too much discussion on reincarnation. So that's the religious part, right? There's a lot on Sikhism and Buddhism and stuff like that. Most of them, Buddhism kind of treads on it, but they don't believe in it or they don't want to expound on it. They just want to kind of generally bypass it. Sikhism, of course, they have their own thing. So these are the three big religions, right? So we're talking about these. Medical science, though. So now moving on to the scientific side, right? Medical science doesn't call the soul a soul. They can't. It will not. Because they need proof. They have not seen the soul. The Bhagavad Gita clearly tells us that the soul is, what is the size of the soul?
1/10,000 hair.
Very good. 1 divided by 10,000, the size of the tip of the hair. That's how tiny the soul is. So assuming medical science creates a telescope or even a microscope to be able to see that, then maybe that one fine day they'll believe there's a soul. But for now, they don't use the word soul. They just call it a vital force. And they do call it a vital force because these doctors are intelligent. They realize that there is something that just disappears. They've been trying to do everything to that body that's lying there in front of them, but there is a power that is beyond them that has taken this life away. So they call it the vital force. And then you have the NDE. The NDE is near-death experiences, where a lot of research is being done now, and it's almost a lot of people who are on hospital beds who almost die, and then you resuscitate them. 17% of them have had some kind of a near-death experience. So there's a lot of research on that. And then the story of, a lot of stories, because it startles people when someone remembers their past lives. So I'll give you a quick story on that. There were two friends. They went to the bar, and one friend borrowed from the other, and there was a dispute, and one friend killed one friend. And after he killed him, he surreptitiously took him and he buried him under some tree, okay? I would like to say Russia, but I don't want to say that, so I'm just going to say Eastern Europe. It was literally in one of those areas. He went and he buried him, and of course, there's so much land over there, and it's so cold over there that it's kind of maybe more probable to bury and get away with that. So the crime was not solved for years, right? Then what happens is, this person who was killed, he reincarnates, he comes in the body of a man, and then he gets all these flashes of his past life, and he remembers this whole episode. He goes to the cop station, and he tells them that this is what happened in this crime. This was the gentleman who killed me. I'm the one who's buried over there. So obviously it was so hard to believe. But eventually they put everything together, and the cops went to this very, very far out place where the body was buried, and they found it, and then they matched the DNAs and stuff. So it was a very startling story. So there are many stories like that, There are quite a few. There's one gentleman who's putting together all these stories. So net effect is that, kind of gray area, reincarnation, not reincarnation, but we are here not to dispute any of that. We are here just to glorify what Krishna is telling us, right? That's what we hear. So what does Krishna say? This is room conversation with Rector Professor Olivia and professors of the University of Durban, Westville, October 8, 1975 in Durban. This is what Srila Prabhupada says. Well, the difficulty is that we are talking of transmigration of the soul on scientific basis. But you are trying to give it a Hindu color. Why? This is Srila Prabhupada, right? So straight up. Why are you giving it a Hindu color? To become, I have already explained, to become old man is equally applicable to the Hindus and the Muslims and the Christians. So why do you say it is a Hindu belief? Why do you say reincarnation is a Hindu belief? He's asking that, okay? So simply, right? Everybody gets old. Everybody dies. So why should reincarnation only be a Hindu belief? So Srila Prabhupada says, it is not a Hindu belief, it is a science. Why are you bringing Hindu, Muslim, Christian? I don't know why. Okay? Clean, straight out. He's saying there is a science behind reincarnation. And if you go to the book table, I'm not sure if we have that, there's a beyond birth and death, beautifully explained in that as to what happens to the soul, right? But we have also gone through chapter 2, this beautiful agenda that Arundhati Prabhu set up. Every week we are talking on verses upon the Bhagavad Gita, and in chapter 2 the soul is expounded so much in details. It's been explained what the soul is, right? So here it says, for the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. This is what Krishna is saying. The soul is everlasting. Okay? This picture, I don't know who this artist is, who such a fantastic job of doing this. Okay? Let's look at this, right? So we see this. It actually maybe starts from here, from our perception, right? You start, the child is born in the womb, it crawls, it starts walking, young boy, younger boy, young gentleman, a mature gentleman and a senior gentleman, and finally this person dies, right? So Prabhupada's simple question is this. Like, Abhay, how many, no, let me not ask you that. Do you remember when you were 1 year old or 2 years old? Okay, how far back do you remember? How young were you?
7 years old.
7 years old, right? Do you remember you used to wear tiny clothes and you used to take a little school bag and a little water bottle, and you remember that, right? And you remember when you started going to high school?
Yeah.
You grew taller, right? And you started wearing longer pants, right? And then now you're a young man, right? There you go. And Harinamananda Prabhu, do you remember any of those? And now you have 3 beautiful young children, right, running all over the place. Do you remember what happened to you when you were young? Kind of, right? Some things here and there. Rupa Mataji. You remember, right? And now you have 2 beautiful boys running all over the place. So why is it, and we realize that our body has changed, right? Do we all remember how cute we were when we were young? Everyone used to call us cute, right? What happened to us when we grew up is a different thing. But the fact is that we were all cute when we were that age. So why is it? Because the soul is eternal. The soul is the same. It's the body that has changed. So the point that Prabhupada is trying to make is that when the soul is, the body is changing. The body has changed. Can we even imagine that we were that size? We can't, right? We just think of us as this body right now. So Prabhupada has a very simple question. If the soul has remained the same and the body has dramatically changed, why do you think that when the body absolutely deteriorates and dies, the soul dies? How can that be? The soul is eternal. It has already survived through all these various changes that your body has gone through. And now that the body is decayed and it's died, the soul cannot just die with it. The soul obviously has to find another covering, has to find another body. That is the basis of reincarnation, basically. And this is what this verse is about. Birth, life and death, and life and death. Right? It's just the whole evolution. So, and here in this picture, we can also see some animals. And then, so, the Vedas clearly state there's 8.4 million species of life as per the Padma Purana. Okay, there's 900,000 aquatics, creatures that live in water. There's 2 million species of trees and plants and shrubs. There's 1.1 million of insects. There's 1 million species of birds, 3 million animals, and there are 400,000 human beings. Okay? Look at this, no gray area. It's not like, between 900 and 925. No, 900,000. The Vedas are very, very clear. Because Krishna's made this. Obviously, Krishna knows his math, right? 900,000 aquatics, 400,000 human beings. That's it. Now, human beings doesn't mean one man, one woman. No, human beings. So that means we can't even imagine the universe and the 400,000 different kind of species that are like us. Similar to us. Not only similar. 400,000 species, right? And even there now, and from all this, we claim, the smallest little species, we claim to be civilized. As compared to all the other species who are supposed to be uncivilized. But think about this for a second, right? There's a gadiwala, a cart, who's taking bags and bags of rice, right? He's pulling it along and one bag topples and falls off in the middle of the road and it splits open and there's rice all over the place. So now there's rice all over the place, right? Big, beautiful bag of basmati rice flourishing and just whoosh, it's like all over the place, looks delicious. So everything gets attracted to it, right? The birds come and the dogs come and the cats come and of course the humans are like watching it now to see what to do about it. So what happens here? The birds will come, they'll peck at the sack, they'll take exactly the number of grains that they need for themselves and to feed their kids and they'll fly away. The dogs will come, sniff at it, this is not my kind of a food and they'll move away. Some other animals will come, taste it and go away. But the human being comes, he'll say, "Arey, ye bartan chota hai." They'll try and make a bigger bartan and say, "Main aur bhi zyada yahan se chawal leke jaunga." Pura bag leke jaunga. There you go. And then we have the gall to call the other world uncivilized. Just think about this. Who works with Mother Nature and who does not? Arey, aaj ka khana ho jayega. I'll have a dawat next week and I'll invite 16 people. Maybe I'll take a bigger bartan and I'll take more rice. This is what we do, right? So this is the way the species is split up. And then basically what Prabhupada is saying is that you basically, when you die, the body decomposes, right? The body decomposes and the soul has moved on. So it's like basically taking off your jacket, changing your clothes, that's it. That's the soul. And that's why in chapter 2 there was so much emphasis on identifying yourself with the soul. Don't identify yourself with the body. In this conditional life, you have this body. I'm a woman, I'm a mother, I'm a wife. That's fine. Because you live according to the rules within that conditional body that you have. But as an eternal servant of Krishna, as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, you must remember that you are the soul When you die, your soul is just going to go into another body. Now, what body is it going to go into? That's why we saw all those dogs and animals and everything. It all depends on your desires and it all depends on your karma. Not only of this life, of many, many past lives. So we have to be aware of that, okay? It can go into any kind of a body. So now let's assume, because we're all sitting over here beautifully, we've all come for Kartik diligently, we've all lit our lamps and everything. So in our next life, we get a human body. So what do we do when we come to the human body, right? The first thing that we do is that we want to become a bhogi. Everybody wants to be a bhogi. Everybody wants to enjoy their senses because they have not been taught otherwise. I was just reading something the other day for some research at work, and then it seems India has the youngest population right now. The largest population, India has the youngest population. Of the median age in India right now is 28.5 years.
Wow.
And the next one is China, which is 38.5 years. America somewhere 46. So India has the youngest population right now. And the reason this struck me is that what are we teaching these young Indian kids? They all want to come to America. Think about it, right? So, but now, I mean, with the way ISKCONs over there are spreading the Bhagavad Gita, it's fantastic. So hopefully, they'll be able to ground themselves further and say, this, this what I have out here is so much better than what I'm aspiring for. But this is the question of being a bhogi, right? And then, so for an example of a bhogi, so what happens when you're a bhogi? There are two things. One is that you're hankering for lust, hankering. And then when you get what you're hankering for, it just leads to frustration. Simple example, right? Everybody should be knowing about this because this is the latest thing that happened. This gentleman from Australia who decided that he wanted to save the world and create energy cars, the electric cars. So he comes to America and everybody loves him and he's the richest man in the world right now, the richest man. Then he hankers, now he wants to have control over freedom of speech, so he buys Twitter. He wants to buy Twitter. And then obviously, he decides not to buy it. Then he gets sued. And the minute he gets sued, his stock prices, he loses $10 billion in one single day. Right? Very simple example. Hankering, and then getting frustrated. Losing $10 billion, I mean, even for him, it may not have been a drop in the bucket. I'm sure it was more than that. Okay, plain example. So this is what happens to a bhogi. So, okay, now after you're a bhogi and you're like tired and you're getting kicked around like an ass and all that, and you say, oh no, forget it, now I'm going to become a tyagi. Okay? That's your next step. Now, what do you mean by tyagi? You'll say, I'll give $1 here and I'll give some water here because now we all have heard कि तुम एक पैसा दोगे मुझे 10 लाख मिलेगा, whatever the case is. So you're like, fine, I'm going to give $1 here. Then in the Vedas, we have heard that if you give a glass of water to someone, especially a man who's thirsty, then in your next birth, you end up getting a sweet water well in your backyard. So these Vedas have all these flowery things, right? So now we are in the mode of becoming a tyagi. So we say, now I don't want to be a bhogi, now I'm going to become a tyagi. I'm going to start donating and I'm going to do all that great stuff. But the whole, so this is, it basically doesn't lead to anything. And then he realizes that this, when he starts donating all this charity and things like that, it's not really helping him in this life, right? He gets frustrated with that. And then after that, he wants to become a jnani. Okay? So jnani says, now I have reached this escalated level and now I want to renounce everything. I want to give up everything. Forget about giving charity here and there, I want to renounce everything. But the strange part is like, it's literally like he comes to your house and he says, I'm renouncing your TV. I'm renouncing your umbrella. I'm like, excuse me, it didn't belong to you in the first place, right? Which is exactly what he's doing. Nothing belongs to him in this world. Everything belongs to Krishna. And he says, I am renouncing, I'm an ascetic, and now I'm going to be going to heaven. Okay? And then finally, from a jnani, he becomes a yogi. The yogi then finally decides to go and meditate. And these are austere yogis. They're mystic yogis, as Srila Prabhupada calls them. They actually go, they perform penances and austerities. They can control the number of breaths they take. They can control when they die. They can control which planet they want to go to. They can do all that. But the bottom line is that all this happens in the circle of this material world. They keep going back and forth and back and forth. If they decide to go to the moon planet or the sun planet or whatever, they keep coming back to the material world. They are never liberated from the material universe. Right? So that's the whole problem with this. So there's a little story here with that. So there was this blind person who wanted to go to his father-in-law's house. So somehow or the other he managed to go to the village. I don't know who took him over there. Someone brought him to the village where his father-in-law lives. So he came over there hobbling and stuff like that, and he said, "Arey, someone please tell me, my father-in-law's name is this. Can someone please tell me how to go there?" Obviously he's blind, so people are busy doing their own thing. They say, "Oh, look, this cow belongs to your father-in-law. Hold on to the tail of this cow, and the cow will take you to the father-in-law's house." So this guy holds on to the tail of this very tightly. He's holding on to the tail of the cow. So the cow is a happy cow. It's treated well in that village. So if the cow goes here and there, goes to this pasture and that pasture and eats a lot of grass, and all of a sudden it decides to turn behind and it says, "My goodness, there's someone who's holding my tail tightly." And then the cow panics, and then he starts running hither and thither and runs into a forest and runs through mud and runs through thorns and stuff like that. So this poor blind person's clothes are torn, he's bruised all over the place, he's all muddied, and finally the cow ends up reaching the father-in-law's house. When he reaches the father-in-law's house, people come out saying, "What is this commotion?" And they're like, "Oh my goodness, someone is trying to steal my cow." And they all come out with sticks and they start beating him again. Alright? Then they start beating him till the poor guy, someone hears him and says, "Oh, this is my son-in-law." And he says, "Oh my goodness, my son-in-law." You know, son-in-laws are treated with such privilege in India. They give him a bath and then they take care of him nicely and then they treat him very well. But this story is exactly our story. This is what we do. We hold on to the tail of the cow and we run hither, thither, getting beaten up, getting muddied, till we eventually go to Krishna's abode. So instead of taking the hard way, like Prabhupada always says, instead of climbing up the stairs and doing karma yoga and karma kanda and jnana yoga and all that, take the elevator. Prabhupada has given us rights to go in that elevator straight to Godhead. That's what this whole thing is about. Okay? Then, Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. He who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me. So you may ask, does it mean that I have to keep coming for your classes over and over again? Does it mean that I have to take Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhav and I have to study all this? Is that the only way that I'm going to surrender to Krishna? Right? That's a fair question. So, there are many ways that we can surrender to Krishna. Firstly, the fact that we are all sitting here in this temple room on a Sunday, on a Kartik Sunday, it means that we've been blessed, right? That we are all sitting over here and we've been blessed. So, for instance, how does one get the mercy to come to this place? Because what does Vrindavan Chil Prabhu used to always say, bhakti is causeless. Don't think that we have done bhakti in our past lives, and don't think, oh, because I have lit 164,000 agarbattis in this life, next year I'm also going to be lighting agarbattis. It doesn't work like that. Bhakti is absolutely causeless. And sitting here in the month of Kartik, we'll come to that slide later, we know that. Right? So, yeah, your karma does help, The fact that you're doing devotional service definitely helps, but bhakti is causeless. For instance, when we go book distributing, right? Oh, no. So, for instance, here, this one. I don't know if you can see the pictures well.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of. Okay. So, during COVID, devotees were all over the place distributing prasadam. They didn't care who it was. They didn't care whether you were a devotee, non-devotee. They didn't care about your caste, your religion. Everybody was getting prasadam. And guess what happened? When you eat that drop of prasadam, that seed is being planted into you already. Right? Ukraine. Devotees all over the place distributing prasadam in that war zone in Ukraine right now. There's been prasadam that's being distributed. When we go book distributing, you catch anybody. You don't care if he's a cop, you don't care if he's the CEO of a company, you catch anybody. So again, that Hare Krishna word has gone into your ears and the seed has been planted. And then when you see all these beautiful Rath Yatras and dancing and singing, you just stand to watch that and you click a picture and again the seed has been planted. The seed of mercy has been planted. And here, this is this is where you begin to fall in love with Krishna. As you read chapter 7 and 8 and 9, you grow to love Krishna. You fall in love with Krishna. Some strange farmer in some strange farmland has grown an apple. God alone knows it's come from Mexico, it's come from Afghanistan to Mexico to wherever. And finally, it's here, it's being offered to Radha Shyam Sundar. And guess what? You think the person who's brought that apple or the person who's offering it gets all the benefits? No. Every single person in that food chain gets the benefit of that single apple that was offered here. Every single flower that has been offered here. There's a whole supply chain that gets blessed because of this. This is how Krishna's mercy works. This is how beautiful this whole system is. And this is how, just by hearing that and just by spreading it or passing it along, or even just mentioning Hare Krishna, and that's why when December is going to come now, we're going to be talking about book distribution, giving a person a gift. If you're too shy to go on the street, just give a person a gift. This is how you spread it, because we are here because someone was benevolent enough to us that they spoke those words to us, maybe gave us a piece of prasadam, and that's why we are all sitting over here today. Right? So, let me see the time. I know you wanted to end, right? Quickly, so okay, I have a story here. So here's the story on the shipwreck on an island, right? So what happens here is that one rich man goes somewhere on a ship and the ship gets wrecked. Then somehow he manages to find his way to an island. And when he goes to the island, he was very afraid. He said, oh my goodness, these tribal people are going to bash me up and beat me up and stuff like that. But instead, all those people who live on the island, they came to him, they paid obeisances to him, put flower garlands on him, they brought lots of fruits and they treated him very, very well. And then they said, now you are the king of this island. She was like, oh my goodness, so fine. So he's like, I'm the king of this island and I'm going to enjoy what I'm doing. But then, of course, he's a very intelligent man, so he got suspicious with this whole thing. So he asked his minister, he said, what is going on here? So the minister tells him that this island is very famous for shipwrecks and people who get shipwrecked to come in over here. And every year when we get someone like that, we make that person the king of the island because he comes with new ideas and new creativity and stuff like that. We treat him very well, and at the end of 1 year, we kick him to another small little remote island, which is just a few miles away. And over there is absolutely no facility, and they basically just go there and to die. That's all it is. So 1 year, you have bhoga, and then after that you have roga. You basically just go there and you die. So now, this king is thinking, now what should I do over here? Because obviously he was pretty young and he didn't want to just live for 1 year and die. So what he did was, he practiced austerity. He practiced, instead of, saying, Arey, main to Raja ban gaya and I'm going to, enjoy myself and do whatever, he said, no, I'm going to actually practice austerity for 1 year. So he practiced austerity. And within that austerity, so people didn't know exactly what was going on. They were like, what a nice Raja, instead of having a debauched lifestyle, he's actually being austere. But in the meanwhile, what this very smart gentleman was doing is that he was making sure that he was sending boatloads of construction material, boatloads of food and all that stuff, because he was building a palace for himself in the other island. So he finished his 1 year being a very austere and very nice king, and when they kicked him out, he went and he lived very happily in the other island. Now this story is not from the scriptures, but it's kind of relevant for us, because when we think about the fact, why are we doing austerities? Why did I have to fast for Kartik? Why are people doing austere things for these last 4 days of Bhishma Panchaka? Not because we want to, in a way, we want to go to Goloka Vrindavan. We want to go where there's eternal happiness and where, we don't age and we don't have pain and suffering and stuff like that. But we also do it to make Krishna happy. So in a way, this story is very relevant to us. That, when you practice austerity, always know it's the austerity that Krishna plans. It's not that we decide, I'm going to fast today because I want to lose 5 kilos by the end of this month. No, it doesn't work like that. It has to be based on what Krishna says. Ekadashi, Kartik, Bhishma Panchaka. So on those particular days of festival, when we do it like that, because it pleases Krishna. Practicing austerity will give us some fruits later. Okay? Then, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Vasudeva sarvam iti. Okay, so this person now, after going through bhoga and tyagi and jnani and yogi and all that, he finally comes to the realization that Vasudeva sarvam iti. Now this one, we already spoke on this in the verse 7.7 where Krishna says that he, O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. And last time when we spoke on this verse, we said that Krishna lies Krishna lies inside and outside and outlies it. Okay, he outlies, he inlies, and what's the third word? And he has his own abode. So he is within the material world. Everything rests upon him. He covers the material world. But that doesn't diminish who Krishna is. Krishna has his own abode. Alright? So this we spoke about in the last lecture. And of course, in the Bhagavad Gita, it's scattered all over the place, right? Krishna says he's the Supreme Lord all the time. In 15.15 he says, Vedescha sarvai aham eva vedyaha. And in 1866 he says, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam praja. Surrender unto me. Right? So throughout he keeps saying that I am the Supreme. And then the last line which says, Sa Mahatma Su Durlabhaha. Such a soul is very, very rare. Okay? Out of thousands and thousands among men, koti, they say koti, out of all those, one pure devotee is very, very rare. Okay? So now the question comes, who's a Mahatma? Most of us have either born in India, we're exposed to India, or we have a certain affinity to India. So the word Mahatma immediately brings up a picture for us, right? But beside that, we also think, if I'm a warrior, then you say, oh, he's such a great soldier, he's a Mahatma. Okay? So there can be a dispute as to who is a Mahatma. So Mahatma means a great soul, right? So then we can talk about, why is American Red Cross not a Mahatma? Right? They're doing great work. How can we dispute that they are not a Mahatma? How can this person who's giving grains to the poor and the needy not a Mahatma? How can the person who's giving free clothes not a Mahatma? They have free hospitals. How can you say that they are not a Mahatma? Why do you Krishna conscious people, why do ISKCON people only say that Mahatma has to be a devotee? Why do people say that? And this used to be a big discussion that we used to have. We would say, why do you dispute the fact that these people are not Mahatmas? So the first point is that doing charity work and doing humanitarian work is absolutely what Krishna wants. Okay, so don't get the wrong impression that, oh, I should stop donating and I should just chant Japan. No. Krishna consciousness is all about being conscious yourself. And being conscious that you are part and parcel of Krishna means that you know everyone else is a part and parcel of Krishna, and then you treat them like that. Right? So that's the whole thing. So then the question comes that why are these people not considered a Mahatma? Let's talk about this person who actually not only just donates money, but who goes and gives grains and grains of food, grains at different places. Why is this person not considered a Mahatma as per the Vedic scriptures?
Because he's only doing a temporary benefit.
That's the word, perfect. Any other realizations? Why is this person who's opening free hospitals, why is he not considered a Mahatma in the Vedic scriptures?
Activities done in a mode of goodness rather than anything to do with the Krishna consciousness.
Very good. But this is the word that Harinamananda said. He said he's giving them a temporary fix. He is not giving them a permanent cure. What he's doing is just taking away their hunger for today. He's taking away their flood relief or giving them clothes for today. Right? And that's that. That person just goes on. But the Mahatma, the pure devotee, can help us fix this with a permanent cure. But then again the question can be asked, so what is the problem? You say, I'm hungry right now, that's my problem, feed me. So you're a Mahatma because you're feeding me. I've been hungry for years. But is that the real problem? Is hunger the real problem? Hunger is not the real. What is the real problem? Mataji, what is the real problem? Any realization?
Keep coming to this world, dying.
There you go. Yeah. You're hungry today. If you continue in this same mode of action, you're going to be hungry for every lifetime of yours. Is that the solution? That's not the solution. So these people who are giving these reliefs, and again, I'm reiterating, please do not think that humanitarian work and charity work is bad. No, it must absolutely be done. That's the way the world goes around. We are Krishna conscious people. Our job, our duty is to spread compassion. But we do it not because we are compassionate. We do it because it's Krishna who's giving us the capacity to be compassionate. We take ourselves away. We are not the owners of that compassion. It's Krishna, and then we put Krishna in the center, and that humanitarian effect now has a multifarious effect. That is a permanent cure, and that is what the Mahatma gives, right? We also have hospitals. We have this, I don't know if there are any more right now, but I know in Mumbai, outside of Mumbai, they have that beautiful hospital, which is free. Every morning, they take Lord Jagannath in the cart. They chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Every devotee gets to see Lord Jagannath early in the morning. Every meal that they eat is a prasadam. Think about that. And think about just opening a free hospital. Who is the one who is giving a permanent cure? The person who's seeing Lord Jagannath. That seed has been planted in that person, right? They may not become a devotee in this life. And never mind, it doesn't matter. Our job is to plant the seed. Because Krishna, this crooked Krishna who stands like that, once he gets into your heart, it's very, very hard for us to push him out. That is our only job, to plant the seed wherever we go. Right? So by opening free hospitals, by giving free clothes and thinking, "Arey, mere paas paisa hai, mere paas ghar hai, bangla hai, gaadi hai, mere paas maa hai," or whatever the thing is. You start going and you start distributing all that stuff, and then you say, it's not actually mine. It's because Krishna has given me all this stuff, right? So it's because we put Krishna in the center. That's where the whole difference is. So, this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, beautiful, and I'm just going to read it the way it is. A fully Krishna conscious person, although situated in this material world, does not see anything but Krishna anywhere and everywhere. This is the sign of a Mahabhagavata. The Mahabhagavata sees Krishna everywhere because of his attitude of pure love for Krishna. As confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, BS 5.38, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Shanta Sadeva Hridyeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. Beautiful. I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotee, whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. This will keep coming up. His eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. Just imagine, just visualize that. You put in kajal and you see this is Krishna, anointed with the pulp of love. He is seen in his eternal form of Shama Sundara, situated within the heart of the devotee. Beautiful love, Shama Sundara here. An exalted devotee or Mahatma, who is rarely to be seen, remains fully conscious of Krishna and constantly sees the Lord within the core of his heart. So now we may ask, "Arey Papa, this is too hard for me. What am I going to do? Am I just doomed to not do anything? How can I become a Mahatma? I have a family to run, I have a mortgage to pay, I have car loans." But then in another lecture, we shall talk about always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. It's pretty simple to do. Krishna has created these simple things for us to do because he knows we are all living in Kali Yuga and we are all going to go whining and complaining to him and say, "Krishna, you've made me, give me such a big mortgage and such a car loan. Now how am I going to become a Mahatma?" And Krishna has already anticipated that and he's fixed it for us. So in another lecture we talk about that. It's possible for all of us to not become Mahabhagavats. We can always do one thing. What do we do? Yes. Yes. Yes.
Always remember Krishna.
Yes.
Coming out his name devotees.
Yes.
Eat prasadam.
Yes. Yes. All of these are correct. There's one word I'm looking for. Yes.
Whatever you do, you say Krishna.
Yes, that too. The one word that I'm looking for is to follow the Acharyas. Follow the Mahabhagavata. Right? That's the way we can aspire. So when we follow a Mahabhagavata, we can do everything that all of you mentioned right now. Because we just want to follow him. We want to follow his own actions. We want to follow the literature he's given us. We want to follow his, not laws, his whatever it is that he set for us. I don't want to use the word law because it sounds very harsh, but just some nice things, right? Now, what are some qualities of the Mahabhagavad, right? Okay, I'm making you noise. First is that the Mahabhagavad realizes that Krishna's mercy is everything. Okay? And this is why when we spoke about the fact that the medical doctors don't like to use the word soul, they realize that there's a vital force, right? But they don't want to call it the soul. But we as devotees, we realize Krishna's mercy is everything. If you're a non-devotee, right? You don't believe in Krishna, you don't want to get involved in this Krishna conscious cult, and you don't want to do any of that, but you're sitting there, you have a brand newborn child, and this is a slightly sad story, but a brand new child is born. Every parent is so excited, and they go, oh my God, a brand new child, and they want to wrap it, and they want to protect it, and they keep it over there, and they say, I am not going to sleep at all tonight because I want to watch this precious little bundle that God has given me. So both the parents are sitting there watching the child. And next thing you know, the child is dead. It's called SIDS, it's called sudden infant death syndrome, that's what it's called. But that's it. So now what happened over here? What just happened over here? As parents, we're sitting over there watching that child, and we're protecting the child, and we're trying to do everything that we can, and the child is gone. For instance, again, if you go we are drowning, right? We decide we want to go someplace, and we decide to fall from the kayaking or whatever. We go whitewater rafting, and we fall. And the rivers become really, really deep right now, right? Very far away, very deep. And we're trying to struggle and keep ourselves afloat. And then we see this boat that's coming from there. And we're like waving our hands, and we're screaming, and we're splashing water, and then we have an orange colored t-shirt which we try to wave, and we do everything. What happens then? What happens when we do all that? Yes, somebody comes and pulls us up. But somebody may also not come and pull us up. Right? The probability is 50-50. Somebody may come, somebody may not come. What is that one thing that happens over there? At that point, if we are devotees, we say it's by Krishna's mercy that this person saw me in that big boat, whose vision may have even been 2020, but I was still so far away. It's Krishna's mercy that boat came all the way here to pick me up. And at the same time, if the boat didn't come to pick us up, as devotees, we say, "Arey, meri to maut hi honi chahiye yahan pe." And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to die. But if we are non-devotees, and I don't like to use devotees and non-devotees because basically all of us are devotees. It's just that we are in a dormant state, the people who don't realize. So like someone who's not still Krishna conscious, that person says, oh my goodness, I have done so much charity work for you. I have given bags and bags of rice to people, and yet you couldn't save me that one time when I asked you to. Right? That's how it is. So, and this is so relevant to us in the month of Kartik. We're sitting over here. Stories have been spoken about Lord Damodara. 2 fingers, right? It was just 2 fingers that Mother Yashoda tried tying him, and the 2 fingers would not let her complete the knot. One was yeah. So one is Mother Yashoda's endeavor that she kept trying and trying. And the second one, the most important, is Lord Krishna's mercy. To his mother, who he loved so much, he wanted to set this example. 1 full month we spent talking about this particular pastime, this particular Leela. Endeavor, mercy, mercy, mercy. So a pure devotee knows this, appreciates it, and just remembers it at the top of his head. It's all by Krishna's mercy. And you'll notice. Right now we have an example of a sannyasi who just discovered that he had cancer, and he's like, fine, I'm not going to go through any treatment, this is what it is, I'm going to accept this as Krishna's thing, and I'm just going to pass. And you'll see that, you'll see it happening to you as well. Don't think it's like it's a faraway place. You keep coming for Sunday lectures, you eat prasadam, and this is something that it'll happen to you as well. A wonderful thing. The second thing is that Krishna is the cause of all causes. Right? We've already spoken about that. We've spoken about the pearl string, verse 7.7, how he inlies, outlies, and overlies. So we've seen that whole aspect. And this material manifestation is not independent of Krishna. Right? So, and these 3 lines are from the purport that I read earlier. This is what Prabhupada says. Who is Mahabhagavata? He first believes that Krishna's mercy is everything. Krishna is the cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karana. Okay? And then that this material manifestation is not independent of Krishna. So it's not that, oh, Krishna created us and now he's gone to Goloka Vrindavan and now we all have to suffer and he's just pulling the strings over there. And then, people have a lot of ideas, right? Oh, the life is a stage and we are all actors and whatever. So, why do that? But that's not the truth. Prabhupada says that's not the truth. He is not disconnected. We are not independent. He's within each and every one of our hearts. Each and every one of us. Imagine that. So how can we be independent? And then, of course, finally, here's the story of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj obviously is a Mahabhagavat. Although he was a boy, he had no interest in playing. His symptoms were perfect in Krishna consciousness. And then, of course, the other thing is, when his father sent all these people to do all these things to him, set him in a fire, have the elephant crush him, throw him in a pit of snakes and stuff, never once did he say that he could have cursed or he could have been angry or anything. Never once did he do any of that. He just took it like, okay, this is Krishna's blessing and this is Krishna's mercy. And then finally, when Nrsimhadev came out of the pillar and Nrsimhadev killed his father and he said, okay, now Prahlad, I want to grant you a boon. Prahlad said, no, because if I take a boon from you, then it becomes a transaction. I don't want a transactional relationship with you. I want a relationship of love with you. Then when Nrsimhadev still said, no, please ask me for a boon, I want to give you a boon, he said, please forgive my father. That was the boon that he asked for. So basically, tick, Mahabhagavat classified. Okay, but for us, for people like us, who only see Prahlad Maharaj and sing the Nrsimhadev prayer every day, right? We live in this material world, so we need proof, we need all kinds of things. Here we have. What else do we need? We have Prabhupada. Many of us have not seen him, right? But he lives through his books. He lives through his books. There is, a few years ago, his devotees started something called Vanipedia. If you don't have access to it, please take access to it. It is so beautifully sorted out. You type in a word, it'll give you categories, it'll give you the books. I'm not sure if every, lectures after lectures are captured over there. Every lecture is transcribed. Letters that, he was a prolific writer. Not only translating books, but that was his method of communicating. Devotees got initiated through letters. Every single letter, again, I'm saying every single, those letters are all there. Those letters have been transcribed. Beautiful. Please go to Vanipedia. And this man, and then when you read Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita, thank you, which Gopal Govind Prabhu is now going to promote for December, making sure that all of you have sets of Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita for December book distribution. When you read that, your heart will just melt, because it's talking about Calcutta, it's talking about trains, and it's talking about rickshaws. You'll be able to relate. You'll be able to empathize. So here is Srila Prabhupada is right here for us, living for us, and all we need to do is follow his footsteps. Follow his footsteps and lead the life that you wanted us to lead. So this is how we can aspire to be Mahabhagavats if we have that career planning path and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do to become a Mahabhagavat. Or we can just say, this is the life I want to lead. I want to follow in the footsteps of these Mahabhagavats. That's all we can aspire to do. So that's all I had for today. Any realizations, please share. Questions, realizations. I think Ram Tulsi Prabhu will give us a few minutes, 5 minutes maybe. Wow, no questions.
It was all loud and clear. So they are inspired before they expire. So thank you. Thank you, Mataji, for this wonderful session. And now we'll continue with 3 times loud Haribol. Please thank Mataji. Haribol! 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 So, trying to aspire from being from Duratma to become Mahatma for us. That's a gift. This is putting some ladders for us, directions. Thank you so much, Mataji. I will so we'll have Damodar Ashtakam. Please, all the Matajis lined up on the left side, all the Prabhuji on the right side. Hare Krishna.
We had to clear the way.
Yeah, I just went to teach something.
Ammonium water.
Where did you put all of these things?
Maybe we can put it here or something.
Listening to
Oh,
We need some room.